Okay, so the dreaded meeting has come and gone. Mark Carney finally met Donald Trump in the White House. Thankfully, Carney didn't get Zelensky, if you know what I mean. In fact, Trump kept JD Vance quiet for the entire 30 minutes or so that they were in front of the camera. Now, to be fair, Trump actually kept everybody quiet. The man loves the sound of his own voice. At times, McCartney had to raise his hand in order to get a word in. Lots to unpack there. So here are 5 things we learned from McCartney's meeting with Donald Trump today. Number 1, it's going to be a long 4 years, you guys. Buckle up. Buckle up. It's going to be a long 4 years. Look, we were all thinking it. We were hoping Prime Minister Carney wasn't walking into an ambush, and it actually looked like he was for a little while there. Here's what Trump posted on Truth Social right before McCartney arrived in the White House. Look at the time on this, 8:23 a.m. This man is nothing like Sleepy Joe, you guys. He's nothing like Sleepy Joe. Anyways, he says, I look forward to meeting with the new Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney. I very much want to work with him, but cannot understand one simple truth. Why is America subsidizing Canada for $200 billion a year, in addition to giving them free military protection and many other things? We don't need their cars, we don't need their energy, we don't need their lumber, we don't need anything they have other than their friendship, which hopefully we will always maintain. They, on the other hand, need everything from us. The Prime Minister will be arriving shortly, and that will be most likely my only question of consequence. He posted this right before McCartney arrived for their meeting today. Again, I'll say this for the people in the back. They don't subsidize us for $200 billion. Even Fox News has called him out on this in the past. But to put this post out right before meeting with McCartney was wild. But maybe it was a good thing. He basically repeated most of the same things in this post for 30 minutes or so that meeting was. Now, time will tell if the US really doesn't need anything from Canada, as Trump likes to say. The other thing that came up was the 51st state talk. Now, this part was good. Listen to this exchange between Trump and McCartney.
Mr. President, and Mr. Prime Minister, I'd like to get your response to this too. But Mr. President, you have said that Canada should become the 51st state. Were you joking?
No. Well, I still believe that, but you know, it takes 2 to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things. There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut. And it's also a beautiful, you know, as a real estate developer, you know, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said that's the way it was meant to be. But you know, I do feel it's much better for Canada, but we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it would really be a wonderful marriage because it's 2 places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, you know, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the President just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the President has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
And they have, I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, you know, they were low and now they're stepping it up, and that's a very important thing. But never say never. Never say never.
When you consider what Mr. Carney just said, that Canada is not for sale, does this make the discussion a little more difficult to start on?
No, not at all. No, not at all. No, time will tell. It's only time. But I say never. I've had many things that were not doable, and they ended up being doable, and only doable in a very friendly way. But if it's to everybody's benefit, Canada loves us and we love Canada. That's, I think, the number one thing that's important. But we'll see. I mean, over time, we'll see what happens.
Look at this. This is what American diplomacy is now, you guys. You invite someone to your house and you disrespect them for theater. You try to humiliate them in front of the world. The other element of this was the fact that Trump basically implied that Mark Carney had requested the meeting. He said something along the lines of, Mark Carney is coming to see me and I don't know what he wants to talk about. Something like that. Mark Carney's version of that story was that he was invited. Either way, what was evident was that there was at least some personal respect there between Carney and Trump in a way that did not exist between Trump and Justin Trudeau. Oh yeah, he also hates Chrystia Freeland as well. Anyways, whether you're a conservative or liberal, I'd imagine nobody wants to see our country humiliated in front of the world. The other side of that is actually my next point. At number 2, there is no news on tariffs. Look, the layoffs have started. The auto sector is suffering in Ontario. The aluminum and steel industry is suffering in Quebec. Many people in those industries were hoping for some positive news on tariffs. Trump was quick to dismiss that today. He basically said there was nothing Carney could have said today to change his mind. The truth is, he has said several times that he is willing to destroy those industries in Canada and in Mexico in order to boost manufacturing in the US. And that's just how it's going to be until his next tweet. One can only hope that an impending recession or something in the macroeconomics will push Trump to adopt a different strategy. Unlikely, but we'll see. On a broader point, Mark Carney has signaled that the meeting today is just the beginning of a long, difficult negotiation. I guess we have to keep Chrystia Freeland away from the negotiation and everything will be dandy. Now, to be fair, we probably want to keep Danielle Smith away as well. She would sell out this entire country for a pipeline in a heartbeat, right? Send Melanie Jolie in there. She's great, apparently. Anyways, let's move on to number 3. At number 3, Canada's problems begin at home. Speaking of Danielle Smith and the concept of reading the room, while we are talking in for long negotiations with the Trump team, Mark Carney must get Canada moving. A, it gives us a stronger hand in negotiations if we're less dependent on the United States. B, we need to get more productive as a nation anyways, right? We got to do that for ourselves. Danielle Smith in this moment has decided it's fighting time. There have been lots of fighting words coming out of Alberta since Mark Carney got elected. Look, we know Danielle Smith and Alberta wanted Pierre Poilievre to win. I don't know if it's PTSD from the last 10 years of liberal rule, or maybe Danielle Smith is using this threat of a referendum on Alberta's secession as a negotiating tool. But it's interesting. So that's Alberta. Just last week, we heard Yves-François Blanchet say Canada is an artificial country with very little meaning. He said he felt like an MP in a foreign parliament. And guess what? Quebec rewarded him for it. The Bloc only lost 10 seats. Now, to be clear, I wanted the Bloc Québécois to be wiped out. It looks like Quebec rewarded him despite that statement. So what am I saying here? Canada's problems are beyond Trump. We're facing a national unity crisis that is highly counterproductive. It doesn't help us go where we're trying to go as a nation. Mark Carney said in the scrum following the meeting with President Trump that he will convey a First Ministers meeting. Hopefully that means they can get on the same page. Mark Carney promised on the campaign trail that they would identify and advance projects of national interest. Now, I want to see them get a move on that. I want to see them get moving quickly. Here's something that has flown under the radar a little bit. And surprisingly, it's about Pierre Poilievre. I know we're talking about Mark Carney and his meeting with Trump here, but at number 4, Pierre Poilievre is classy. Listen to this real quick.
Today, the President and the Prime Minister will meet, and we want to wish Prime Minister Carney a positive meeting. We hope that the President will honor our sovereignty and signal an end to these tariffs. We think that there should be a deal as soon as possible to end the chaos. There's too much collateral damage to innocent people, businesses and workers alike on both sides of the border. Let's put an end to it. Let's get a deal hammered out so that Canadians can get back to focusing on building affordable homes, powerful paychecks, unlocking our resources, and of course having a safe streets again. So that is our mission, And I want to thank everyone who gave us their support, and we will continue to earn it.
Look, I've been trying to convince some of my liberal friends that Poilievre is not really as MAGA as you think. Here, you hear Poilievre basically wish Prime Minister Carney good luck in the lead up to what he must know is a tough meeting with President Trump, right? He didn't politicize it, and he could have. There was an opportunity there for him to politicize it, but he chose to keep it classy. He wished him luck and basically said some of the things that we would all expect, like a quick resolution to tariffs, for example. So this makes me believe that Pierre Poilievre really cares about Canada. Now, you might disagree with the way Poilievre was planning to better this country, and I personally disagreed with some of the things in his platform. And you guys that watch the channel know that we compared Mark Carney and Poilievre's platforms in the lead up to the election. But overall, in conduct, I'll tell you that Poilievre is a really classy human. It's really an underrated character of Pierre Poilievre. But here's the other thing. I've kind of been thinking about this a bit more. When Poilievre wins his seat in Alberta, it will be interesting to see how he positions himself relative to Danielle Smith. Does he fan the flames of Western separation in order to destabilize the government, hopefully push us to an early election? Or does he help to foster meaningful cooperation between Alberta and the rest of Canada? Is Poilievre going to be the Danielle Smith whisperer, if you know what I mean? Unfortunately, we won't find out for a while because you might have seen that the Conservatives have chosen Andrew Scheer as the interim opposition leader while Pierre Poilievre works his way back to the House of Commons. Anyways, here's my final point. At number 5, the 5th lesson we learned from this meeting between Mark Carney and Donald Trump. Trump did not like Justin Trudeau. I know, slow sports news. Look, we knew this. I think we all kind of saw that it got very personal, certainly for Trump in relation to Trudeau. Personally, I don't believe that Justin Trudeau actually said Canada would be a failed nation without United States trade. At the same time, we never really saw Trudeau or his team clarify what was actually said. I bet Trudeau probably said something along the lines of it would be devastating to our economy. And it is, right? That is just the truth. But it was very dumb to give that away like that. And Trump has run with that, and it has formed the basis of a lot of his actions against Canada. Actually, I think at some point during his meeting with Mark Carney today, Trump actually admitted it was personal with Justin Trudeau. But it seems to me, at least from this meeting today, that Trump does respect Mark Carney. Carney must love him though, because he basically won the election because of Trump. It's funny, Trump actually said that in the beginning of their meeting. We'll have to see if this different personal dynamic helps Mark Carney and his team to come to an agreement. I like that Mark Carney did not allow the negotiation to take place in front of the press. I bet Trump would have loved that. Trump would have loved that. But I think Mark Carney navigated what could have been a tricky situation very well. He held himself back a lot of times, and you could tell from his face sometimes, right? You could tell from his face. But he kept his poise. He kept his composure. And that, my friends, is what we expect from Mark Carney. I can't say I was surprised there. But how did you guys rate Mark Carney in this meeting? You give him a score on the scale of 1 to 10. Personally, I'll give him a 6. I don't think he made anything worse. Actually, when I think about it now, maybe I'll give him a 6.5. I liked when he said he heard from the owners of Canada and Canada is not for sale. You could tell he had that line in the chamber. He followed his plan and didn't get drawn into arguing or negotiating in front of the media. But I'll have to dock him some points because our whole country got disrespected to his face and there was not a damn thing he could do about it. It's not his fault, but it happened. He says he told Trump that the 51st state rhetoric is not useful. Okay, let's see if anything changes, right? Let's see if anything changes. Also, the other reason I've given Mark Carney a 6.5 is because nothing really substantive came out of this meeting. It was mostly a meet and greet in the end, at least on the public side of it. The tariffs are still there. Again, not his fault. Trump is gonna Trump, but still, right? Maybe I'm being a bit harsh, right? Maybe I'm being a bit harsh. So why don't you let me know your rating of Carney's performance in this first meeting with Donald Trump? Join the conversation in the comment section. And if you're new to the channel, help your boy out. Subscribe to the channel. I'm building a community here, and it's all about opinions. So get your opinions in the chat. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Take care.